Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Economic Watch. I'm Tom, your host, and today we have an important discussion on a topic that impacts not only the United States, but also the global economy. We'll be delving into the recent warnings from U.S. lawmakers regarding the ever-increasing national debt, which has now surpassed a staggering $34 trillion.
That's right, Tom. This issue has certainly sparked significant concerns and debates among policymakers, economists, and citizens alike. The national debt represents the total amount of money owed by the U.S. government due to years of deficits, where government spending exceeds its revenue.
Absolutely, Jenny. And over the years, this debt has continued to climb, fueled by factors such as increased government spending, tax cuts, and economic downturns. It's important to note that the national debt isn't inherently bad as long as it remains sustainable. However, the concern arises when it reaches massive levels and becomes difficult to manage.
Precisely, Tom. Many lawmakers argue that the national debt poses a significant threat to the country's stability. They believe that the growing debt burden will hinder economic growth, limit fiscal flexibility, and potentially lead to devastating consequences for future generations.
That's a valid point, Jenny. One of the key concerns is the impact of the debt on interest payments. As the debt grows, so do the interest obligations, eating up a significant portion of the annual budget. This means fewer resources available for vital public investments in areas like healthcare, education, infrastructure, and national defense.
That's correct, Tom. Some lawmakers warn that the increasing debt burden could further exacerbate income inequality, compromise social services, and limit opportunities for future generations. They argue that prioritizing fiscal responsibility and finding ways to reduce the debt over the long term should be a top priority.
Absolutely, Jenny. However, it's important to note that there are differing opinions on how to address this issue. Some economists argue that cutting spending too quickly or increasing taxes abruptly could have detrimental effects on the economy, potentially triggering recessions or hindering growth.
That's true, Tom. It's a delicate balance. Lawmakers face the challenge of finding ways to reduce the debt while also ensuring economic stability. Long-term strategies such as comprehensive tax reforms, gradual spending cuts, and fostering economic growth seem to be popular suggestions for addressing the national debt issue.
Rightly said, Jenny. Another aspect worth discussing is the role of economic growth in managing the debt. When the economy expands and generates higher tax revenues, it becomes easier to pay down the debt. However, prolonged periods of low growth can make debt reduction more challenging.
Absolutely, Tom. Economic growth plays a significant role in managing the debt, but it's crucial to strike a balance between stimulating growth and reducing the debt burden. Sustainable economic policies, investments in innovation, and addressing structural issues can potentially help enhance growth while simultaneously managing the debt.
Indeed, Jenny. It's important to remember that reducing the national debt is a complex and multifaceted issue that requires bipartisan efforts and long-term planning. It's not something that can be achieved overnight. However, it's encouraging to see that lawmakers are acknowledging the seriousness of the situation and actively discussing ways to address it.
Absolutely, Tom. The national debt is a challenge that affects not only the government, but also every individual in the country. It's important for citizens to stay informed, engage in conversations on fiscal responsibility, and participate in the democratic process to help shape policies that will ensure a stable and prosperous future.
Well said, Jenny. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope it has shed some light on the concerns surrounding the growing national debt in the United States. Remember, it's vital to stay informed and be part of the conversation as we collectively navigate these economic challenges.
Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, this is Tom and Jenny signing off from the Economic Watch.